Grand Rising, guys. Grand Rising. How are you all doing? How is everybody doing this morning? Welcome, Patricia. How you doing? So today's live. In the mornings, I talk about children's social services, justice, etc. If you would like to have access to a solicitor, for those of you that are going through PLO, child protection meetings, etc., I'm here to give you to or advise you to see a solicitor that I believe is working for the parents, going to tell you the truth, not going to sugarcoat anything, basically just let you know what is what. I'm also an advocate, so I also have services if you need a consultation. If you click the link in the bio, you can book an appointment with me. There is a charge for my services. Okay, so I'm also a spiritual reader, so I've decided to start incorporating who I am into the work that I do, and this is how I win my cases for my clients, or help them to navigate through the trauma that they're going through, because a lot of this there's a lot of trauma attached to having your children removed, or the threat of having your children removed, and as a spiritual person that I am, this is how I found my way to navigate through the system, was connecting to my ancestors, listening to the signs, listening to the advice that I was getting through my dreams, etc. If you don't really understand dreams and how to read them, etc., I did do a whole live yesterday, spiritual live, which I have posted a little bit about dreams. I will chop up the live and post it up for others to go through. But I do feel that in this justice fighting, especially against the children's social services field, there is a stigma on spiritual people, and I'm talking from experience because I am someone that's been through it. Like I've said many times before, while I was in court, I felt like I was on trial as a witch, even though I'm not a witch. I was being questioned about my spiritual abilities, etc. Even though I don't even know why they were questioning me, because when I was going to my meetings, my name was called Visions and Prophecy. And you go to Teams meetings, that's all I had on my thing, Visions and Prophecies. And all I kept doing was giving them the vision and telling them the prophecy. I was telling them everything that they were going to do before they did it. It's so good that I was even telling my social worker about herself when she's a child, because I forgot that, oh shit, I shouldn't be letting these people know that I can read. But you know what? I was like, what the hell? She's like, how did you know that? And I was like, I told you I'm a reader, so obviously I'm going to know. So I was able to tell her what clothes she had on and the colour clothes that she had on at a certain age in a picture that she was trying to describe to me. She was flabbergasted, right? So just showing you how when you start connecting with self, your higher self, your ancestors, how you can help to navigate yourself through the system. You've got to know how to reset that mindset. You've got to start visioning the outcome that you want, because sadly, from my experience, and this is not everybody's experience, the outcome that the professionals wanted for me, I was not adhering to that. I'm sorry. Like I remember one of the CAFCAS workers coming into my home telling me what was going to happen, and I just had to say to him, in your paradigm, that is what's going to happen. In my paradigm, that is not what I see. And if I start believing your paradigm, then that is what's going to be the outcome for me. And I refused to live in his truth of false allegations or false narratives. And I lived in my truth. And by the time he left my house that evening, he turned around and he said to me, your children are returning home. But he came in with the rhetoric that my children were going to their fathers, etc. Blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I'm going to pull a card for the collective going through children's service. I'm going to do 3 cards. And this is just to see what we should be focusing on as a collective going through the justice system that is very unfair. Also, if you want a personal card on the live, it's £2.50 for one card. If you click the link in the bio, it should say one more, and you click on that and it'll bring you to my link tree, or there's free cards for £5. I say to you, have your questions ready. So if you've got free cards, you get free questions. If you've got one card, you get one question. So what does humanity need to focus on in the realms of fighting social justice? Okay, so the first card that's come out is basically play, right? So when I see this card, it means don't be too focused on the negative. You know what I mean? Remember to enjoy yourself also. Remember to have fun as well. Do you know what I mean? You've got to have fun. I remember when I was going through the beginning of my case, and I didn't get to have any fun because these people were turning up at my house every day, stressing me out, giving me PTSD, giving me anxiety. I wasn't even living anymore. And when my children were taken into care, they went into care for a year. I didn't even know what to do myself because I'd bring activities, and I advise people that are going through these situations, going to contact centre, bring activities. Reason being is because if from my experience, the one time that I didn't bring any activities, it was used against me. To say that they didn't know what was going on with me because I wasn't engaging with the children. Now, we was in a church hall that had nothing. It had a whiteboard with no pen. It just had tables and chairs. And my children was like, Mum, I'm going to just run up and down, play tig and tag. You're old, you sit down and we'll come and speak to you when we're ready, whatever. My little one he liked to do meditation, so he'd sit down and do meditation. Me and him would do that as well. But yeah, it was used against me, and I had to put a letter of complaint in because I wanted to understand how you're going to hire a big church hall for contact and you don't have anything to provide for the families to have family time. I actually told them it's a very big disrespect to call this facility a family time centre because there's no family time about it at that point anyway. And they did make a change from my complaint. So hopefully that centre has changed a lot and they are working with families to create family unity. But yes, as I was saying, the next card was balancing act, and that is something that I had to do, was balance my emotions, switching them on and off. And it's not easy to do, but when you do master it, you then master to being able to control your anger. You'll start to think before you speak. You'll start to think before you write. And it's very important that you do that because, like I said, everything you say, it will be used against you. Anything you do will be used against you. They may say that it won't, but I'm telling you for free, it is used against you. The best thing to do is stay calm, understand the system, look at all the loopholes that there is. When something is going bad, learn to write complaints, right? Learn to direct the complaint to stage 1, level 1. Learn to write complaints. And the last card is abundance. And I love this card because this is the energy that I'm in now. Like it's abundance time. Do you know what I mean? It's about reaping what you've sowed. It's about change. Hey Beth, how you doing? It's about navigating the system with abundance. So there's nothing wrong with starting Grand Rising. There's nothing wrong with starting your own business. That's what I did. I had to find things to occupy myself from the trauma that these people were putting me through. And I started my own business, and it's called Extended Knowledge Social Justice. And I remember when I was going through this part of my life, children's social services, and they thought I was crazy, and they gave me a psychological test. Well, they think everyone's crazy. It's like, let's send them to the psychologist, let's write them off, and then we can take their children. But sadly, when I reached the psychologist, she couldn't do that because I'm very, very intelligent. And I told her that I am creating my own business to come for social services because they don't know how to do their job. And she turned around to me, now I've got the last laugh. She turned around and she wrote that I'm delusional because I think I'm going to have my own business. Like, who the hell are you? You're not God. You know, you've seen me about twice, I think 3 times in my life, and you judged me. And it was so crazy because she was writing things at the contact centre, about the contact centre, about a visit that we had, which was on a Saturday. And my 4 boys were there, if I'm correct. No, 5 boys were there. Everyone was there. And on a Saturday, because I had a big family, thank you, Beth, they always left the contact centre free for me. So the children used to run up and down around the contact centre because they're boisterous and have fun. Now, this particular time, this woman's here, everyone's deciding to move differently. You know, my little one's gone outside in the hallway like usually. She's writing down things. When I got the report stated that I wasn't watching the children. The little one was running up outside in the hallway by himself, but the contact worker was sitting by the door and she was keeping an eye on him. So I wrote the contact centre and I said, listen here. I says, I don't need to tell the people the rules that you have at the contact centre because this is not what we do each week. Each week we actually move like a family. Like, this woman is trying to move clinical and use it against me. So yeah, I wrote a complaint again to get that overturned, because even though these people pass you in your psychological test, it's like they're working, I'm going to just say it straight, they're working with children's social services. It's like they tell the truth and then they tell a lie and they align it with what children's services wants to hear, so then children's services can use that part. I had to write the woman and let her know that I think sadly you need to have a psychologist test yourself, because you can't pass somebody and then try to write negative about them, not on my watch anyway. And you know, that was that. So that was the free cards for humanity. And like I said, if anyone wants a card, click the link in the bio. One card is £2.50, 3 cards is £3.50. And also, if any... Yeah, exactly, Beth, you get me. And also, if anybody is looking for a solicitor to help them through a PLO, or you might be in a child child protection plan meeting, please contact me. I can hook you up to somebody who I know is willing to help the families. Something that I'm gonna keep talking on. I won my case with a solicitor. You know, I hear a lot of people saying that solicitors are this and solicitors are that. Well, I won my case with a solicitor. I instructed my solicitor. I did what we're supposed to do, which is not sit down and think that your solicitor is going to do the work that you want done for you. You have to remember, they have cases upon cases, paperwork on paperwork. If you are not showing that you are interested in your own case, what makes you think that the solicitor is going to be interested in your case? And when I'm saying interested in your case, it's not about phoning up and saying, oh, this has happened and that has happened, and no, evidential evidence. You know, I used to be like, Laura, this has happened. They've stopped my contact because of this reason, but this was the reason that this happened. And she'd be like, okay, Farah, send that over to me in an email. If I don't get back to you today, God's honest truth, I will contact you just before we go back to court and we'll discuss everything. But you send me everything that is your, you know, that's I'm getting on your nerves, but make sure it is there with evidence. And that is what I did. And every time we went to court, we had evidence. You must instruct them. And at first, I believe she was working with Children's Social Services. And I told her that I'm going to sack her. I said, I can win this case myself. And when she heard that tone, she actually changed. I said to her, you haven't read the paperwork, I'm telling you, because if you read the paperwork, you'd see all the lies that were inside this paperwork, and none of it makes any sense. Like, even the Children's Social Services solicitor in court stated to me that he has never seen a case like this in his life. He says none of it makes sense, right? This is their own solicitor. And I'll tell you, by the end of my court case, social services was on my side. Yeah, they weren't on my side for the flipping 3 years that they came to destroy my life. But on that particular, at the ending of, you know, when all the truth, what's that song I keep hearing? When the truth comes out. So when the truth started to come out, they had to flipping get back in line, you get me? Like, don't mess with me and my ancestors, mate, yeah? They're gonna show you. You know what I mean? They're gonna just start revealing their self. They let you hang yourself. You know, you keep telling your lies, hang the rope, hang yourself, because when the truth comes out, you're gonna be revealed. And that is like my story there. I'm gonna pull one more card, and then I'm actually going to jump off live because my little ones woke up and I've got a meeting to go to this morning, and I've got homeschooling to do. Let me see, what do I want to pull it on? Okay, so I'm going to put it on trust. I'm going to put it on trust. Okay. So the card that's come out for trust is be devoted and committed. So if you're going to put your trust in something, or you're going to put your trust in somebody, you need to make sure that they're devoted and they're committed to you. And you also need to make sure you're devoted and you're committed. And I'm telling you for free that when you are going through Children's Social Services, you have to be very careful who you trust. I'm not talking about the professionals, you know. I'm talking about families, because we already know how the professionals are. I'm talking about trusting the families, your family members, your friends, right? Definitely. Kev, please come out the video, please. Oh, you're not in it. Yeah, definitely making sure the people around you have really got your back. I experienced betrayal from my sister, cousins, family members that I would have never ever thought I would experience in my life. Even my children's fathers, I experienced betrayal. But you know, when the truth comes out, the back down. Do you know what I mean? When you start to align them with the truth, they're backed down. And that's what I had to do. But please, people, make sure when you're trusting somebody, make sure you can trust them with your whole heart and soul and body, because this is your children that you are fighting for. And sometimes people don't really understand that, how can I put it, that you're fighting. Do you know what I mean? They don't understand that your mission, what you're going through, is actually more important than their superficial, oh, you know what, I've broken a nail, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't understand it. Like, I used to say to one of my family members, I used to say, you know what, try know that when I speak my truth, I said, just make sure that when you're talking and you're telling people the story, you tell them the whole truth. Because when I speak my truth weighs heavier than your truth. Just understand that. Because I will let you speak, but when I start to filling the gaps that you've left out, people are going to be like, what the hell? Do you know what I mean? And I have evidential evidence. I don't do nothing without evidence. You know, like Cardi B says, have receipts. I have the receipts. I make sure. Well, guys, have a prosperous day. Lots of abundance. You know, if you're in your paperwork, you know, make sure that you align it correctly. Tick all the I's and the dots. If you've got complaints to write, make sure that you're not doing it from an angry point of view, and you're doing it from a professionalism point of view, like you are a client of yourself. You're using your higher self to write your paperwork. Okay, guys. Thanks, Beth. I'll definitely take care. Thank you. See you all later. Bye, guys.